welcome to the studio, everybody. Thank you for joining me on what is, for me, a chilly, wet Wednesday evening. Tonight, I'm going to paint this beautiful, there he is up there, little seahorse. I hope to do a great job with him. Thank you all for joining me. Let's get a few things out of the way. As normal, when I'm doing my painting in the studio, I'm using Fabriano Studio watercolor paper. It is part cotton and part, well, what am I trying to say? Part pulp. The paints that I'm using over here on my right-hand side are all M. Graham watercolor paints. The brushes I'm going to use this evening are my King Art brushes, and I think I am ready to start. Susie is here. Hello, Susie. Good to see you in the studio again. Actually, I'm going to go with a slightly larger brush, and I'm just going to put on a base layer of color. I should say, if anybody had trouble finding me, Renee is here. Hello, Renee joined me over the weekend for a nice watercolor stream. If anybody had a little trouble finding me this evening, I set everything up and started my stream. I started it from the back end before anybody could see it, and I got nothing. Nothing was coming through to YouTube, so I had to stop and start again, and that may have messed up some of the stream, but we'll get through it. Cheryl is here. Cheryl Kaminsky from Virginia. Welcome. Good to see you in the studio. I'm going to mix a really light color. So if I look at this guy, I'm going to try to do, somewhat justice to what he is. His base layer is this really light ochre, yellowy color. So I'm going to mix that up, and then everything we do, we're going to build on top of that. Maybe we'll even mix in a little bit of orange, making him a little brighter, a little happier here, but just a nice warm color. I hope everybody can see, right over there, that I'm mixing my paints. Renee's in Washington. Susie's in Maryland, and I am in California. I'm glad. It's always amazing to me that we have service like YouTube, and we can all connect from all over the country. From all over the world sometimes, from parts unknown, and get together to do something that we enjoy, or just to spend a little bit of time together. And I have to say, I love coming in here. I was talking to one of my coworkers about it today. I love coming into the studio on Wednesdays and doing a stream. We are bi-coastal. Because it's gotten to be, I told him, I was like, when I first started this, it was really kind of an arduous thing to do, and I really didn't like to do it, and it seemed like, I've got to spend the time to find an image, and then I've got to set up the stream, and then I've got to do all this other stuff, and now that I'm doing it, it doesn't seem like that. It seems like I'm just getting ready to spend some time with some friends, and spend an hour or an hour and a half, whatever it ends up being, with some people that I enjoy spending time with. So that's a testament to you all, not to me. I feel badly sometimes. You guys all have to listen to me ramble on, but so I really do enjoy spending this Wednesday night with everybody, and I'm glad that you're willing to spend some time with me, and we're all going to have a little fun, and if we learn a little bit about watercolors, then so much the better. Let's see. As I come down here, maybe we'll make this even a little more orangey as we come down. I don't know. We are bi-coastal. Now, I just spoke with, if anybody has remembered her, I spoke with her last night, actually. Jennifer from Jennifer Loves Art. Oh, now I feel bad. I don't remember what her channel is, what her channel name is. Anyway, she's from Australia, and she joined us a few times. She's going to try to come back on here and say hello a few times in the coming days, weeks, and months. I'm actually hoping that it's a little tough with her being in Australia, but I'm actually hoping that she can come on and we can do kind of a co-stream together. She's a interesting person and really is good at drawing and painting, animating, or I'm sorry, illustrating what she draws. So I'd like to have her on, and everybody would probably learn a little bit from her, some things that you don't learn from me. Liza is here. Hello, Liza. I hope your phone call went well. Before we started, Liza said she was going to be just a minute late in the chat, that she had to take a call. I trust that everything has gone well and you're in, and I assume, Liza, I'm laughing. I assume you've got a list of questions ready for me, or maybe you come up with them on the fly. I don't know. I'm looking forward to trying to answer whatever questions you bring forth. And I laugh about it a little bit. If anybody is new here, we got a few people. I don't know all who's here, but I do love answering questions here. It's part of what makes being online and together so much fun. And if I can share a little bit of my art journey or my art thoughts with you to help make your art journey a little easier, I am more than happy to do that. So, Eliza, you make them up on the fly. Renee, you're asking, am I using Naples Yellow? I don't have Naples Yellow. So, when I put my palette together, I originally was trying to find colors that the Impressionists used, right? And so the Impressionists may have had Naples Yellow, but more than likely for the watercolor Impressionists, they wouldn't have had that to start with because it's pretty opaque. So, whoops, I've got it up here. All right, there's my first layer. I've got a first layer on this, and I'm sorry if I did some of that off camera. Sorry. Let's see. Here it is, right here. Here are the colors I have, and so I've got them in my palette: blues, greens, neutrals. Then reds, yellows, and yellow ochre, which kind of doesn't fit in a true yellow, but it's here anyways. So the three that I use here, and yes, I know orange isn't really yellow, but I could have put it over here, but it just fits better over in the yellows. So I use Hansa Yellow, which is a cold yellow. I use Gamboge or New Gamboge, which is a warm yellow. You can see it's almost bordering on in orange. It's so warm, it's getting a little orangey. And then Azo Orange. But when I put it together, I say that because the Hansa Yellow, they may have used an Azo Yellow in there, something like that. But the Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green, the Permanent Alizarin Crimson would be in every Impressionist's palette. And then there probably would have been some cobalt, so I have Cobalt Green, Cobalt Blue in there, and they would have had to go along with a cold yellow. They may have had a warm yellow. Anyways, that was just my thoughts behind doing this. And then you got to kind of have ultramarine in there, right? And I really just like turquoise. And then I put this Cobalt Violet in here just because this corner seemed a little lonely and like it needed a little color in there. So I put it in there. But that's basically how I came up with my palette and how I put them around, right? Warm to cold, warm to cold, warm to cold, warm to cold, warm to cold. Tried to set them up basically that way, all the way across, and we'll see how it goes. Right? I've been using it like this for 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. Oh, maybe even more than that. And I think a little bit more than. Or do I have them in a right order, or let me use air quotes around right order, is I've gotten used to the order that they're in, and I just know where they're at and know what they are. And because I don't change them in this palette, I can go right back to them pretty quickly. Jacqueline is here. Good evening. Sherry is here. Hello. I am stalling a little bit to let this dry. I can get the hair dryer out. It's right down here, and dry this in a second. But I will have to, excuse me, I will have to mute you. So let me grab this and let me put it on mute so I don't blast anybody's ears out. Okay, so last week I think we talked really briefly about developing your own art style, and I said one of the things in my art style is I leave a lot of lines, or I leave areas that are just a hard line to, how do I say it, a hard line, then a much lighter area and another hard line, right? So when I thought about doing this guy over there, you can see that it looks like he's got some like almost stripes across him this way, and like there's one going down this way, right? Like he's got these little rectangles all down his side. So when I drew it and I envisioned this, I drew it with all these lines on here, and so I'm going to not paint those. So I'm going to have this not necessarily be, like I said, a representation of that guy, but I'm going to do my interpretation of it, and you'll see as we go along, hopefully, you'll see my madness in the whole thing as we build this out. So just one thing to keep in mind. And so then I've got to start to think about where I need to add the extra color, right? I've got this beautiful base layer on here, this nice base that's going to end up being the highlight area. And then how do I go about darkening this? And Mary Ellen is here, and so is Sook. Sook, oh my God, Sue Rook. Oh, I'm so sorry. Mary Ellen from North Carolina. Wow, welcome. Is found me this week. I'm glad you found me. And Sue is from Florida, and Jacqueline, Arizona. So Mary Ellen, you're new. You just found me this week. I love doing these. If you have questions, throw them out there. I would rather talk about the things that interest you as I'm painting rather than continue on with the things that I normally go on about. So whatever you have questions about, I don't have a whole lot of a filter. I'm willing to talk about just about anything. Just throw it out there. And if I can't answer it, or even if I do answer it, you'll find that Sherry and Liza and Jacqueline and whoever, Susie, everybody else will jump in and start answering the question too, because we all have a fondness for painting and, find it fun and want to share what we do and maybe get some ideas from each other. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to, here I have two ways I can do this, okay? And when you do this at home, if you want to do one of your own, you can figure out your own way. And I'm going to tell you the two ways. And I did a little practice yesterday and found that this way that I'm going to tell you first wasn't the way I want to do it. So what you can do is you could wet each of these squares, each of these little areas, right? I've got them drawn. You can see them, right? I could wet each of those little areas and add a little paint to it, and the paint will kind of go to the outside, and it'll dry and it'll fall down, and you'll kind of get a nice little outline of these areas. Or you could force the paint into those areas, and you'll get a nice little outline of things. I tried it, like I said, wasn't the look I was looking for, so I'm going to do it the way I would normally do something like this, kind of the way I've just kind of developed to do this, which is to do a whole bunch of graded washes. So get ready, because here it comes. And I'm going to try, I should say, before I get going, I'm going to try, as I look at the picture up there, all right, I've got some red up here, and I've got some red back here, and I'm going to try to keep true to some of that. I've got some maroons in here on his underbelly, and maybe some greens and browns down here, but I'm going to try to be a little bit subtle about it. Sometimes that's hard for me. So I'm just going to jump in and start going, and I'm going to just grab a little bit of extra orange here, and I'm going to start up here, right kind of behind his head. And I've got a really small brush here, and whoops, where's my paper? I've got a little bit of paper so I can kind of control the moisture on this brush. And I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to grab the next one. Maybe add a little bit more red to this next one. It doesn't really matter if it looks like that. A reference photo to me. And I'm just going to grab these and keep rolling right on down the side here. So this would be a perfect time for anybody to ask questions if you have them. If not, I'm gonna start talking about things that I got going on. So feel free, and I guess I should say this is a small little brush. This is a size 4 brush. And I don't want to get too much water on this. It's mostly dry. It's just really enough to carry that pigment from one square down to the next square. That's really all I've got here. So I'm going to mix up a little more color over here, maybe a little bit browner. I'm going to do a little bit under here, and I think if I do this little bit here, then you'll be able to start to see the method to my madness, right? And you see what I was talking about with these lines that go down his body here. And if I do this in these light little layers like this, then I can, whenever I think I've got something that I want, I can stop painting. And if I don't think it's quite right, I can alter it just that little bit. So I'm just getting this little bit of paint on here. Maybe I'll start this one back up on the top. You can see it's not really much. It's just a little daub of paint here. I look up and I look up from time to time and nobody has said anything, and I go, uh-oh. I used to have such problems with my connection. Uh-oh, did I lose connection again? What's going on? Liza is probably going to be nice enough to say that everybody's enthralled with what I'm painting and you're just trying to pay attention. And whether that's true or not, it's always a sweet thing to hear. So we have had, in my little neck of the woods, quite. Oh, so somebody put a question in. Question is above. I don't see a question. My question, Liza, your question is above. I'm sorry, Liza, I don't see your question. What an interesting Sue. What an interesting seeker. Are there any others that look anything like him? Are there anything that doesn't look like him? This guy is fairly unique. I don't know a whole lot about seahorses, to tell you the truth. He's fairly unique, but I know that there is a sea dragon also, similar sized. But whereas this guy has little tiny fins like this one in the back here, the sea dragon will have big, almost like leaves for fins, and they don't move a whole lot, but they're about the same size and move at about the same pace, live in roughly the same ecosystem. Liza, I don't know what happened to your question. I would answer it. I love answering your questions, but honestly I don't see it. Having a little trouble. I don't know what happened to it. Let's see, maybe a little bit more red as I'm coming down here. Mix that with a little bit of orange. We've got some nice color as we come down this way, right down his back here. And can you all see kind of how these lines are just going to kind of hang out there and add some interest to this guy? Not that, right, the original Seahorse wouldn't necessarily have that color on there like that, but this one kind of does. And that's, like I said, that's kind of something that has kind of become a hallmark of my paintings, are these little bits of unpainted, not unpainted, but more lighter areas surrounded by hard lines. Let's just break up the colors in there. Okay. I see Perylene Maroon in your palette. Yep, right here. Love Perylene Maroon. It's a tricky color for me. On its own, it's limiting. I need ideas for nice mixes. Okay, I can answer that one. Good question. I love that Maroon Perylene. I too think it's a little limiting, but not kind of in the way that you do, I reckon. I think it's a little limiting because it sits so far on the top of the page when you paint with it. It doesn't stain at all. It's not overly granulating, and if you go back over top of it, at least in the M-gram set, right? So I'll preface it by saying that at least in the M-gram set of paints, you have to be very quick putting a glaze over top of it. If you try just to go over top of it, you know, and leisurely enjoy going over top of it, it's going to lift and it's going to blend and it's going to look weird. I have the same problem in the M-gram set with my burnt umber. So I think it's just some way that they have formulated their paint. But I will say, right, it does make for a nice maroon. It does make for a nice purple. Okay. Whoops, nobody gets to see that. That was my practice from yesterday. Here's a... Nope, that's got a drawing on it. Here's an old sheet of something. Maroon Perylene, Phthalo Blue. That's a lot of Phthalo Blue. It's a lot of Phthalo Blue. Should make a nice purple if it was phthalo that I used to mix it with. All right, maybe it wasn't phthalo. All right. Let's try this again. Maroon Perylene. Let's go with our Cobalt Blue. There's a purple. Cobalt Blue, we get a nice purple. Oops, I'm off screen there. You get a nice purple in there. With that, of course, the Maroon Perylene with Burnt Umber. Come on, Burnt Umber. Give me a little Burnt Umber. It gives you instant rust color. Right, it's a very nice rusty color. We can pull that out a little bit. If it's too bright, Maroon Perylene is a little bit like alizarin crimson in that it's a lot brighter, more powerful than you think. But Score Repairman is here. Hello. So I use it for those. I don't really mix it with yellows all that often. I don't have a great reason why I don't. Let's see, a cold yellow. Oh, makes a decent orange, a warm orange in there. Well, it's not bad. Yep, Phthalo Green. Phthalo Green and Maroon Perylene. Should get kind of a neutral gray. It will get there. There you go. There's a nice, well, in this instance, a green gray because I don't have enough maroon in there, but it gives you a nice gray that you can mix on your own. There you go. All kinds of ideas for Maroon Perylene. I actually like the color. It's lovely. It's quite a lovely color. All right, let me continue on with what I'm doing here. Liza, great question. Great question. So I'm going to ask a question back. How did you come about your Maroon Perylene? Because that's not really a color that a lot of people utilize. So I can't imagine that you would have just gone, hey, I'm just going to run out and I'm going to buy this. Because like I said, it's kind of a weirdo color. I will be honest, I didn't set out to buy Maroon Perylene. I got it at a sale and started using it and liked it and just kind of kept with it. Going down the rabbit holes of swatching videos. That will do it. Yep. You're going to have to watch yourself doing that because then you end up going, ooh, that's a cool color. Ooh, I'm going to get one of those. Susie, you have Maroon Perylene. It's staining and it's tricky. Interesting. Tricky, I will totally believe. Well, staining, I'll believe too. I mean, different manufacturers, right? Different pigments, different compounds. I can totally believe the staining part. You said who? You have it by who? Da Vinci. So Da Vinci, big paint manufacturer. They are, if I am remembering correctly, and tell me if I'm wrong, they are actually owned by Rembrandt Paints, are they not? Let's see, you have a couple of, Schminky is a little dark. I'm assuming Schminky of the Maroon Perylene. I think, if I remember right, the Rembrandt owns Da Vinci. I do have a set of Da Vinci paints, which I actually think are quite lovely. You think, Liza, you think yours is Daniel Smith? Renee is saying no, no to no to my question. They're not owned by Rembrandt. You think Da Vinci is a U.S. company? Oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. It's entirely possible. It is entirely possible. Or you could just tell me I'm completely off my rocker. Yes, but you let's see. Here's a Daniel Smith. I think Da Vinci is California-based, family-owned. Really interesting. I didn't know that. And well, if I'd known they're California-based, maybe I should move to Da Vinci paints and and do something for, do something native. I've been using M. Graham from Washington. Who's here from Washington? I forget who's here. Somebody is here from Washington. Da Vinci made in Da Vinci. Oh my good lord! M. Graham is made in Washington, along with Daniel Smith. Right? I mean, they're not made together, but they're made both in the same state up there, right? Wait. Sherry, you have Sherry. You make a color chart from every palette you have, and you have one that has 1,000 colors in it. Holy cow! That that's actually impressive. How long does it make you to do swatching or color charts from 1,000 different colors? I make these for all of my palettes, and then they fit right in. I literally just close them right in there when I'm done, and I don't like to be without them. But 1,000 is, well, I mean, I don't know the number, but it's a lot. Daniel Sims is Seattle based. Okay, there you go. ZC Creations is here. Welcome. Da Vinci's is relate to Cheap Joe's American Journey entry. Okay, look, I'm learning all kinds of stuff here tonight, too. I didn't know some of this. And what's more is some of my graded washes are not grading out all that well. I need to start with, I let my water get a little too thin and it's running a little too much. I need to have a little thicker paint on a couple of these. Now, didn't I say I was going to get into some green down here? How am I going to move away from this reddish color? I mean, I guess I don't have to be a slave to the color that I see. Maybe I'll move it to a little darker as we're moving down here. Just darken that a little bit. Let that go. Come on. Something like that. There are two Da Vinci companies, though. The US one and the European one is brushes. I happen to have Da Vinci brushes right here. Love my Da Vinci brushes. Da Vinci is Cheap Joe's private label. I didn't know that. Why did nobody tell me this before I started this whole thing? Why? Somebody should have told me. I was unaware. Let's see. So I'm going to add a little bit of color down through here. I've got some little dots on here that I'm going to kind of try to I'll mix some green in here. I'm going to try to leave relatively paint free. Right? They can be little highlights on his body somewhere. Something like this. Come on. Add a little color down here. I think I had hoped, where am I at here? We've been going here for a half an hour. I think I had hoped to be a little further along than this, but this is good. So I'm learning about paints as I go. I didn't know. Rancho, wait a minute, whoa, what is in Rancho Santa Margarita? What is that where the paint company is? Is in Rancho Santa Margarita? I know where that's at. I gotta drive over there and ask them if I can use their paints. Yeah, Da Vinci paints, pretty good value and pretty good pigment too. That's true. That's absolutely true. They're wonderful paints. I don't think anybody would have any problems using them or backing up that statement. Oh, right. And what do we got on this side over here? Let's get down a little bit over here. Give me some of this burnt umber, a little bit of ultramarine. Let that blend out up here with a little bit more of the burnt umber. As it comes around, just a touch of the red over here. And then going around this side, we'll mix just a little bit more of the red into here as we come around. This whole entire tail. Something like that. Michael, they might give you a test pack if you ask. Cinema did it for me. I think they sent me 3 to 5 milliliters. Oh, that's cool. They weren't into, but a thinner package. Oh, that's. I actually have done that with a few different watercolor companies. I try not to really to do that too much, but I have done that with a few companies. I'll tell you which ones. I did it with Meeden. Meeden sent me some paints at one point in time. They sent me some palettes that I reviewed for them. And did they send me anything else? I don't remember. Prima, I think it is. Prima sent me some paints that I've used. I did a review for them. A nice pigment load in them, a nice pigment in them. A little heavy on the filler, but a fun paint to use nonetheless. These guys, Dana, these guys sent me these brushes that I absolutely love. I've had these for a long time, and I continue to use these. These are wonderful brushes. I got those. Yes, I really like those Dana paint brushes. I think that's how you say it. I'm always a little concerned I'm not saying it right. And I contacted a... Wait, you get a Da Vinci sketchbook at the dollar store? Is it the dollar store that's named the dollar store? Or is it the 99 cents only store? Because if you do, I'm going to check mine out. See if I can find a Da Vinci sketchbook. That sounds like that would be a steal to get. Okay, so a quick look, right? Got some texture on this guy now. He's starting to look like something, right? Doesn't look quite as flat as he did before. He's got a little interest in him. I'm going to come around his eyeball here as I'm looking. And I'm just going to start to designate a few areas where I want to start to bring out some color. And then I'll circle back to all of these squares and put another layer on as we go. Because I think we're going to need to really get some good definition in there. And now, as happens... forgot what I was just talking about. Everybody's talking about art supplies. I love it. I love it. I really do. I appreciate the fact that you guys just pick up and keep carrying on. I'm trying to keep up. I really need I need a reader or something. Somebody to kind of tell me what's going on in the chat, because I'm getting all carried away with painting. You guys are doing a dollar store. I haven't been in my studio since 2022. Sherry, I got Da Vinci sketchbook. It's 1.5. You're in, Cheryl, you're enthralled with the painting and trying to pay attention. That's probably what I should do, is try to pay attention. Quite honestly, this is the problem with having people who like to speak up. Yeah, I want to look up and I want to talk, and I get a little lost. That's okay. This is fantastic. All right, I'm going to put a little color up here. And if I'm going to put a little color there, I'm going to put a little color down here maybe. Just to counterbalance that a little bit. I'm going to spread that all around. Let's bring that out here as long as I have that color, and we can spread it. Everything's wet here, so I can work with this almost as long as I want. Let's move it into a little bit of... And this is where watercolors really get fun, is when you start adding a few colors here and there and you really start moving things around. People who talk about painting wet on wet, I kind of go, all right, we're talking about that again, right? Wet on wet painters. They think everything is great wet on wet. The truth of the matter is, though, from time to time, I really do like just grabbing some color, putting it into a wet area and moving it around with my brush and not worrying too much about whether it's going to be right or whether it's going to be wrong, and just letting the colors do what the colors do. All of a sudden, look at his head now. Oh, his head's got some real oomph to it. It's got chutzpah all of a sudden. I'm actually going to darken this up a little bit here. And I'm going to, that red's going to be way too powerful, but I'm going to put in a little bit extra up here, and I'm going to try to blend these together. Renee, you are a wet on wet painter, so this is second hat to you, right? I have a hard time with large areas doing wet on wet, right? Just doing the whole thing wet on wet. I kind of go, oh, can't do it. But from time to time, I'll do this, and I do try. I try, right? Let me emphasize, try to mix more color on the page than I do on the palette. But when I get into little areas like this, it's very exciting. I get all excited about it. To go, ooh, I can. This is an area where I can just dump in some color and watch it explode and go all over the place. And then I try to mix it a little bit, and it's so exciting. But I can't. But if you were to ask me to do the whole thing, get the whole thing wet, and then paint it like that, I can't do it. I go nuts. I'm like, no, can't. That's not a possibility. But Renee, oh my Lord, if you can do that, you have my admiration. Let's see. I do a combo wet on wet and dry on wet. Dry on wet. Wet on dry? I don't know. What did you say? Dry on wet. Oh. My eyes are going a little goofy here, obviously. There we go. Look, ooh, he's going right around his eyes. Jacqueline, you agree with Aliz? You do a combo of wet on wet and dry on wet? Sure. I would love to do all of that. I don't. I try. I try. I think I do okay with what I do. Whatever it is that I do. Someday I'll figure out what it is I'm doing. See, I got a little purple in here. Just a little of the blue that was on my palette already, which is Ultramarine Blue. And whatever this red puddle is here, I guess that's mostly Pyrrol Red. Mostly Pyrrol Red. There's probably a little bit of orange that's in there. And we'll start to add a couple of extra colors and try to bring this guy to life a little bit. Do you know which is why we... You do, Mike, which is why we watch. Oh, my Lord. I can't even read tonight. Thank you. You need larger brushes for a larger area, and you have to hurry. I know. Look, I've got this giant brush. Look, look, I'm using a little tiny one. Actually, when I try to do that, I usually pull out one of these. I've got them all here. I can do it. Look, I got another one here. I've got the big brushes. What I lack is the confidence to do it, I think. Let's see. Really, landscape painting is my wet on wet tee with backgrounds. Yeah, I totally get that. I totally get that, because then you can get the like a misty effect and things run into it, and it looks like you really can place things a long way away. Yeah, I totally get that. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to come down on the inside of this guy now, and let's see. I hope this is dry enough. I don't remember at what time I did this. Did I just do this, or did I leave this be? Ooh, that kind of looks... I kind of like that. I kind of like that. So maybe when we're done, if this is successful, if this is successful, I'll pull out. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? I'm adding a little. What I'm what I'm trying to do, if you don't see what I'm doing, is I'm adding my color opposite where I had the color last time. So if I put on my color from the top last time, I'm trying to put it on from the bottom this time. And hopefully those two colors will run together and form some happy other areas. Right? If I go around the corner, that's fine. Not going to worry about it too much, but I want to continually to kind of refine that area. Maybe that can go up a little farther in there. Just want to look at it and see what it's going to look like, and kind of know how I want to get that paint in there. I want this paint to, you know, run up to these, run up to the borders and get in there, because there's probably a little shadow right there a little bit, and we can capture some of that and help to make these indentations look even bigger. Liza, I turn my paper and you turn your iPad to match as I'm doing it. That's funny. I'm sorry, I turn my paper quite a bit. I apologize for it. I'm not going to stop doing it, but I will apologize for doing that. I do realize that sometimes it's a nuisance. I get it, but it's easier for me to see where the point of my brush is, and to know that I've got a little bit more control over it, rather than trying to, you know, turn my wrist and paint this way or some such thing as that. So I didn't learn to keep my painting this way and to never turn my paper and to do this and to do that, or to go from some other angle. So if and when it becomes bothersome, I apologize for it, but I'm not going to stop because I can't. I've taken a grand total of, well, I guess I actually took one watercolor class. I took it twice with two different instructors here at a local community college. And he saw, the teacher saw me do that the first day and kind of went, "I don't get it. Why are you turning?" And I went, "Because nobody's ever told me I couldn't. And when I was learning to paint on my dining room table, that seemed like the perfect thing to do." And he went, "Okay." And walked away and never said a thing about it. Never tried to correct me. And just went on about whatever. I think he just wanted to know why I was doing it. Didn't seem to affect anything other than people viewing it. Let's see. Ooh, look, I like the way this is turning out. That looks nice, right? Enjoy the talk. I'm listening. You glad you found me? Cheryl, I'm glad you found me too. I hope you're enjoying it enough to come back next week and jump into the conversation and let us know. Let us know how you use your brushes to paint, or do you turn paper? Let us know. You know, I told you at the beginning we're all just going to talk and have a good old time. Oh, Sudike is here. Welcome back. Let's see. When you guys do wet on wet, do you wet the underside too? So, Jacqueline, I will answer that partially. I'm going to let everybody else answer on their own too. But I saw a video years ago when I tried to emulate a lot of other people. And that was one of the things I started doing was doing the backside of my paper, but I didn't do it necessarily so much because I wanted it to stay wet, even though it probably did a little bit longer. I did it because it made it easier to stick it to the table. So I had like a piece of gator board or whatever, and I could wet the back and it would stick down, and I wouldn't necessarily need any tape to hold it in place. But I certainly would welcome other people to answer that question too. Eliza, you turn your paper because you learned it from me. You're funny. But it does, it makes it easier, right? You can focus on a couple of brush strokes or brush techniques and not worry about having to do it while you're standing on your head and backwards and upside down and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of benefit to doing it. All right. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna do these couple little spaces, then I'm gonna stop and take a look to see where we're at with this guy or gal, which I don't know how you tell the difference. The only thing I know, the only real thing I know about seahorses is that the male seahorse is the one that carries the babies, which is fascinating. He's got a pouch and he carries the babies. That's about all I know about seahorses. And I do know that for the first time, they have found seahorses not far from where I live. Wetting both also makes where pigment flows a lot easier to control. Interesting. Natalie, you've heard about wetting the back, but never tried it. Welcome. Oh, you're just coming a little bit late, though. Have you been here? I don't remember seeing you here this evening. I just missed you. I'm sorry, but welcome. Susie, you don't work wet on wet, Sue, so you don't wet the back. You staple your paper to foam board. Wow, if it starts to buckle. I am one of those weird people. I've never had too much trouble with my paper buckling. Been here. Okay, you've been here for a while. Okay, that's good, Natalie. Thank you for joining. I always enjoy having you here, Natalie. Okay, let's take a look at this guy. I'm liking this in here. All right, maybe we could enhance a couple of these colors just a little bit. I don't want to get it too dark, but maybe we could brighten a couple of these up where we've lost some of our gradient a little bit. But I do like this. It gives it an effect like, right? By painting like this, it makes it look as though, right, it's lighter in the center here, and then there's color around the outside. It feels more like a bowl. It's shaping up nicely. Thank you. It's getting there, right? It's just a matter of getting the right colors in here, in the right spot, in the right quantity, in the right saturation. Just going to continue to do a few of these here. I just let that come right on down. What I don't want to do is, I don't want this guy to get too brown or too dark, right? I'm okay with putting on some more color, but I don't want to put the color on so that they all just kind of mute themselves out. When I saw this picture, right, the reference picture, I really liked it. I thought it's got a ton of potential, but I was a little concerned about the the lack of color in there. So I'm like, so I thought to myself, well, okay, well, we can fix that. Which is why I started with the yellow and not a brown necessarily. I think the true color of this guy is probably a bit more ochre than I started with, and I thought that yellow will pop a little bit. It's gotten a little duller than I wanted. That's okay. I think it has stayed bright enough that that we can see it's got some life to it. I say I don't want to do brown, and all of a sudden just put a big swab of brown right on there. that's on me. Put some color right on down here. Ooh, I like him. Got kind of a kaleidoscope of colors as he comes in here. I think I need to keep orange here as a main color. I don't want to get too far away from that orange, especially if I'm going to have this orange right here in the front. He needs to have this orange as a major color. Luckily for me, Azo Orange is a super bright color. Renee, you can't keep tape around because you have a 7-year-old. He steal all your tape. I'm laughing because I think I would swear, I don't know how old they were, but I would swear, I'm certain I have gotten my kids tape for Christmas just because they want to play with tape. Tape is fun. Who doesn't like tape? Susie, you would like to see how to paint a gem. Susie, that is a great topic to bring up. You want to see how to paint a gem. Well, Renee and I were talking over the weekend, and we have decided that I'm going to bring back the monthly challenge that I used to do on Discord. So anybody who wants to get into the monthly challenge, it's there. And as it turns out, for February, I'm going to start it in February. For February, the challenge is going to be amethyst. So it is a gem, and you can paint a gem there. I also will be doing that. I think what I'm going to do is the last live stream of every month. This is how I'm going to tie everything together. I am going to do my version of my challenge on a live stream, whether that be here on YouTube or whether that be on Twitch. I guess maybe I haven't fully decided yet, but I'll do my version of it, and you can watch me as I struggle with that month's challenge, and you can paint along if you want, or you can laugh with me as we go along. But that's what I'm going to do. And so if you want to paint a gem, like I said, this month it is amethyst, and you can find the challenge on my Discord channel. And I think that's about all I need to say about that or want to say about that. But it's there if you want to check it out. And if you don't want to do the challenge there, but just want to do it on your own. I will be letting everybody know what the challenge is here. And you can just do it on your own, and there's no real need to join up. What is Discord? Who asked what is Discord? Sherry, what is Discord? Liza, you don't know what it is either. Discord is an app. It's a communication app. It's popular with many kids now, or the younger generation. It's just a way to bring communication together. Instead of like being on a group chat where you've got 20 people and you're all chatting and your phone is blowing up, you send all your messages to Discord. It goes to one place and you just look at it in one area. Can we tag it on Uppy G? I don't know what that is. Renee says, Discord is a chat group platform that allows you to hang out as a community. And I should say, like I used to do, and I quit doing it, before this stream tonight, I have a channel on my Discord server that's called Pre-Stream Hangout. And I got into the old pre-stream hangout, and I got this idea from a YouTube friend of mine who hangs out with all of his YouTube supporters before. I think he does it before and after his streams, but after these streams, I will be honest, I go to bed. So I just got there and I was doing some ukuleleing. I was practicing some ukulele before I came on here. So if you ever got on and you wanted to talk before the stream, I'll be on there half an hour, 20 minutes, something like that before we start. Can you tag it on Instagram? Probably. I would imagine you could. I would imagine people do it. Anyways, it's not a requirement for anything. It's just one other thing that's out there that I'm going to start doing again because I enjoyed doing the challenges for a while. I should probably get back into them. They're fun, and if other people are enjoying them, then that would be awesome. Can I send another link or invite? I think the link should be in the notes down below. They should be. If it's not, if somebody would be good enough to try to see if the link below actually works to get into Discord while I'm doing this, then that'd be awesome. And if not, I will try it later. And if I need to send you try to keep saying invalid. Okay. Okay. Then I'll tell you what. I will, let's see, how do I do this? It's been a while. It keeps saying invalid. It's been a while since I've done this, so give me a second and I'll post it here. Invite. Copy. Does this work? If I paste here, there you go. Send that. That should be a link to it. That works. Whoop, I gotta move this guy up. That link should work. So if you were to follow that, why don't you use your community tab? Okay, I could do that. Okay, that's a great idea. I'll put it there. I'll put it on the community tab. That's a wonderful idea. But for those of you who don't want to wait for it, you've got it where I don't know, wherever that link is on your when do I go on there? Well, I'll go on there whenever now. I check it. Oh, I'll probably check it every time I'm in the studio at least. So I have it on my phone. I just put it back on my phone again. So I'll get notifications on my phone. I'll see it. I'll see stuff on there. I actually think it actually sends, if I don't get to it in enough time, I think it kicks me an email about it too. I think. All right, I've got a I got a little ways to go here. Got to pick up the pace. I don't have to pick up the pace. I'm not in a too big of a rush to do anything. Let's see. Why don't I use the community channel? I'll do that. When do I go there? I will. I'm trying to. Renee, you're asking hard questions now. Oh, I'm sorry, Liza. You're asking hard questions. I'm trying to really make my watercolor painting more of a priority. So I'm going to start to do more and more of things. Right? My work has settled down for the most part. Right? Things at home have settled down. I'm in a good place right now. I'm in a place where I can spend a little bit more time doing some other things. And one of the things I really like to do is paint watercolors. And so I'm trying to spend more time doing this and connecting with, those people that enjoy it also and want to spend some time talking about it, learning about it, and, generally discussing it and helping each other to become better. So I'm going to make it much more of a priority to spend time where those things can come to fruition. And if you guys see benefit out of it, I am more than happy to make it a priority to spend some time doing it. So I hope that answers your question as much as anything else. Can you give me fun? Can you give me watercolor for free? What does that mean? Fun? Fun. Talk to me. What does that mean? I'll give you a lesson for free every Wednesday, about 7 p.m. Eastern, or Pacific time. I'm happy to do that. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by give you watercolor for free, like a painting. What are we talking about? Oh my Lord, I just looked up. We got 18 people in here right now. Wow. Everybody who's not been here a whole lot before, hello, welcome. I'm just going to ramble on and continue to talk. kind of what I do sometimes. If you're new here, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. Feel free to ask a few questions. I'm usually pretty open to answering just about everything. Oh, Natalie, good grief, Discord made you verify you were a human about a dozen times. Oh, no. Oh, no. But now I'm in, but my channels are missing. Oh, no. Oh, Natalie, I'm sorry. Like I said, I tried to get in and start to do things on Saturday. It took me about took me about 10 minutes to figure out what my old password was. I guess I had forgotten it, and I had to go back through all of my every password I could remember to get to it, but I finally got it. It didn't make me do anything other than that though, which is weird. I kind of thought be in the same boat where I have to answer like 45 questions. You haven't been here in 15 days, and what's your mother's maiden name, and what was the name of your third pet cat when you were in 6th grade, and all of that kind of stuff. But I didn't have to do any of that. Let's see, Jacqueline, you tried but can't access the pics on the human questions too. Uh, well, like I said, we'll talk about enough of it here. Talk about enough of things here, and hopefully, if you can't get in, we'll pick up a lot of it, and you'll be able to get to everything you need. I'm a little dismayed here. My color matching is off over here. just just like hugely. I've told everybody before, I kind of get a little um, I've done this so many times. I'll paint for a while, and then I don't consciously feel it, but my body or my brain starts to speed up or whatever, and then I get um, a little out over my skis, or I don't know what you want to call it, where it's just not quite what I thought it was going to be. Like those little bits of paint, we can go and fix quite a bit of that actually, but that color in there, it's a little brighter, it's a little redder than I wanted, but we're going to fix that. Make no mistake, we will fix that. And then one of the things I want to do on this one, and partially because my wife asked me to, is I'm going to put a little bit of water behind this guy so he's not kind of floating on this white background with nothing behind him. She always asks why all of my stuff is always floating in space. Sherry, you make notes of passwords. I should say because I've worked in the tech industry for a long time. 20 20 20 some odd years ago. I don't know, a long time ago. And I don't know, I think I just have kind of a memory for passwords. I kind of have like a mnemonic for them, so I can remember quite a few of them in my brain. I could probably remember 40 or 50 passwords in my brain right off the top of my head without trying too hard. Just from years of doing it. But I have to sit there and I have to think, okay, wait a minute. Do I get this one? Do I get that one? This one? Uh-oh, what happened? Jacqueline. Oh, Jacqueline, you stopped Facebook 6 years ago after your husband passed away. Yeah. Jacqueline, yeah. Sorry about that. That sucks. Um, I hope he passed easily, and I hope you guys had a long time together. It always makes that a little easier. I'm just going to drop a little brown in here. Try and bring this brightness down just a little bit on these. You can, Natalie, you can remember passwords, just not the sites they belong to. That's that's funny. That's good. That's the best security you could have. Oh, Mary Ellen, since it's getting late on the East Coast, we'll not be able to see the rest of this tutorial. Oh no. Okay, well, hopefully you come back next time. We're at about an hour and a half. I try to keep it to an hour, and then I don't. But thank you, Mary Ellen, for stopping by. Anyways, always good to have you here. I hope to see you here next time. So thank you, and hopefully, like I said, we'll see you again soon. Fun is asking how to use watercolors. I hope you're getting some of that by watching this fun. Watercolors are watercolors. So, right, I'm a little biased. Watercolors, I think, are the best medium to use because they set up quickly, they clean up quickly, and you can make some really dramatic paintings with them. You can paint in any style. Watercolors are probably the most diverse of anything because you can paint in any style. You can paint photorealistic with them if you want. You can paint totally wet and wet. You can paint wet and dry. You can do anything you want to with watercolors. They're awesome. Mary Ellen, thanks. You enjoyed my time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, Sherry, you're still trying to get into Discord? Yeah. Yeah. When they won't let you in, it's been a while, you don't remember, you got to change your password. I get it. It does. It stinks. You're right. Let's see, we got this guy's eyeball here. Let's get some. He's got these little lines on here that I want to make sure we are able to represent. Something like that. Ooh, actually I kind of like, I don't really mind this coming down here, this red on the back. I think what I'm going to do is instead of trying to cover all of that up, I'm going to add a little bit down here. How about this? Right? There's nothing that says you can't do it this way. We don't have to cover up the red. We can add on red. We'll just keep the color going right on down here. There we go. Now we match there a little bit better as we go up. Ooh, I really like him. Now, now I wish I had done more up here to make his jaw even darker. A little bit. Maybe not quite that much. I want it to stand out a little bit. This is the this is either the really fun part or what you call futzing with it, messing with it, and it's going to be too much. This is going to be one of the two. See, I'm going to give him some more red up here, and I'm going to let these come together in this wonderful mishmash of color over here. Oh, this is wonderful. Look. I love how that color, now his head's like he's got a dragon crown or something. Jacqueline, you're trying to get in and it's not letting you, and now you are going to have to delete your account. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, oh, I think he looks, the more I'm playing around with him, I think he's looking cooler. I like him. Okay, I am going, I'm going to do this. Right before I go too far. He's got what are these called? Ribs, veins, spines in his little fin back there. And then, okay, then I'm going to mix up. Well, I'm going to mix up a mix of ultramarine. I suppose he's in water. We should use some ultramarine. I'm going to use some of the cerulean too. And I've got some clean water here. And I'm going to put some water on. And then I'm going to add the blue, and I'm going to let the blue do whatever it wants to do, however it wants to do it. Right? I don't know what you call this technique, but I'm just going to get my page wet. This allows for a pretty easy, pretty dramatic background. Right? I'm sure you all have seen this before. Just looking to make sure I got this nice and wet. I'm going to grab my paint, drop it on here. See, I'll come all the way down to here. Come on, a little bit more, a little bit more. And I'm just going to let this go out to the side here where it wants to go. I don't have to paint the whole background. I can paint a little bit and it'll be pretty dramatic. Oh, I started to dry a little bit up here. That's okay. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the back too, on the back side over here. It's a clean water. Going to try to kind of match the area on the front and on the back that the water's on. Everybody's talking. I don't know what anybody's saying. But I like doing this kind of a background. It's a simple, easy background, but it's really pretty dramatic when you look at it. Right, and I've got to get into a couple of spaces here. 1, 2. There. Whoop. Okay, I can feel wet. Trying to look. All right. Okay, there. I guess I could go. Well, I'm gonna leave it. Right. There's my background. It kind of. I kind of could have done a little bit more up here. That's okay. But I like where I'm at with that background. It helps him pop out of the page a little bit, right? I don't want to have to do the whole background. I don't want to have to do, leaves or seaweed and stuff behind him. This background is going to offer a lot of pop for what it is. And then now I'm going to look at it and do some finishing touches on him here. Before we finish up. Let's see. Let's see. Jacqueline, I am glad. Okay, art is great therapy. Art is great therapy. It's always caught too late. What? Let's see. Pancreatic cancer. Oof. That's tough. He didn't suffer happened too quickly, thankfully. Renee, you have 14 kids in your family, or had 14 kids? Holy cow. Wow. Lots of fun in a big family. 14. That's a giant family. Okay, everybody's talking there. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just give a little bit of extra. Let's see, I think I'm even going to go to a little bit smaller brush. Yep, and I'm going to just kind of make a few marks here and there where there are these little, last week we did this kind of on the octopus, right? This guy's got some light spots here, not light spots, some little nodules, some little circles here that kind of are hanging out a little bit. And could be something where I want to draw a little bit of attention to those. Right? He's got a little. Just going to give a little mark here and there where there's a little something at. If it's not going to do anything else, it's going to cover up a little bit of the pencil line that's there. I don't often worry too much about pencil lines being in the way, but from time to time I look at things and I go, well, I could have changed that a little bit. Let's see, I've just a few marks here and there. You can see it's not really much. It's just kind of accentuating it a little bit, right? There might be a little bump here and a little bump there, and it just needs to be called out. Could even be one or two. Yeah, it could be, something in here. It doesn't have to be. I don't want to do too much, but and one thing I do want to do before I do anything else, get out my new favorite here, which is my white gouache, and I'm going to give him a little bright spot on his eye there. Hold on a minute. Sherry, you had a friend who had 10 sisters and 11 brothers? Same parents? Were they all twins and triplets? That's holy cow. Oh my God. Wow. Susie, you like my background swirl? This in the background back there? Hopefully that brings him to life a little bit. Yeah, I think if I do too much more, I'm pretty much done with the painting. I think at this point, if I do a whole lot more, it's going to be just playing with it, and I'm going to kind of ruin the funness and the lightness of this. Let's see, I'm going to sign that right there. Hopefully that's dry and that doesn't run. It looks kind of like it is. Okay, so Sherry, everybody's going to talk about that for a long time now. So I want to do a few remarks like I normally do, right? I used to call it Soaring Heights and Abject Disasters, but it's basically a review just to look back at what I did. So if I look at this reference photo and over here on my computer, I have it blown up a little bit. His head kind of looks like a different piece. Like it almost looks to me like there's a piece of armor on there. So I wanted to make that darker. I wanted his head here to stand apart from his body behind it. One of the ways we can do that, of course, is with more saturation of color. The brighter the color, the fuller the saturation, the closer it's going to look to you. Even though it could be blue, right? A higher saturation of blue can look like doesn't always, but it can look like it's closer to you or fuller or something like that. So I actually like the interplay. I like the darkness of the color here as opposed to kind of the muted colors back behind it. To me, it does look like there's something special about it. Like I said, it almost looks like he's got armor on there. And I had started with the blue here and the red up here. And then at some point, after I put this yellow on down on the bottom, I came up and I put this yellow on up here. And I'm so happy that I put that yellow on there, right? These three primary colors, I think those three primary colors together really bring his head to life and give him some cool watery colorness. Right? I kind of always refer to that because we all know what a watercolor painting, or we all have in our mind what a watercolor painting should be, right? It's some looseness to it. It's some flowability where the colors blend effortlessly into each other. You don't always see it. You don't always recognize where one color stops and the other color starts, but you know it's there. And that's kind of one of the really cool things about watercolors. So I'm totally happy that his head looks like that, and he's got that cool watercoloriness to it. I like the fact that he's segmented all along here. Maybe I could have done these a little thinner. I think I would have had to draw that a little thinner to get it there, rather than do it as I'm painting it. That's okay. I'm okay with the thickness of the lines. I love the fact that it looks like it's like scalloped out in most of these, right? So many of these, it looks like it's scalloped out. This tail comes down. It's got a little bit of blue here. Kind of, maybe it's pushed back a little bit. This yellow really helps this tail stand out here. And I do kind of like the background here, right? It makes him stand off the page a little bit. He pops out. I don't want to do the whole thing in blue. I'm not sure the whole thing in blue would be all that exciting, but that little bit in blue really does kind of make it pop out and makes it feel maybe a little bit special, like I said. So this is the first Seahorse that I've ever painted, and I'm actually kind of chuffed with the way it turned out. I'm super excited about it. So that's where I'm at with it. You guys tell me what you think. We're all still talking to Jacqueline. Oh, everybody's so good. I love that you guys are giving Jacqueline as much support as you are giving her. I appreciate that. I'm sure Jacqueline appreciates that. I tell you guys, or I try to tell you guys all the time. That's one of the things that makes this Wednesday night so special, is that everybody cares when they come here, and you just want to be friends and help out and be good human beings. That's fantastic. Let's see. It's a girl seahorse. Is it a girl seahorse or a boy seahorse? I have no clue. I don't have any idea. I don't know how you tell a girl seahorse from a boy seahorse. No idea. But that's what I've got for everybody today. It's probably not the perfect representation of a seahorse, and that's okay. It's kind of more of a seahorse in my style. I really like it. So that's what I have. I'll be back here next week doing something else. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I'll post it in the comments section of the community tab on YouTube. I will also post on there the link to Discord. Let's all start using Discord. That'll be fun. You come in before 15, 20 minutes, half an hour before this. We can start to talk there. Then we can carry that over into this live stream, and we'll have some fun with it. If you can't make it, that's cool too. But let's see how that goes. And I think that's about it. Links down below. I'll fix the link down below to Discord, and we'll go from there. So until next week, thank you all for once again helping to make my Wednesday evening such a joy. I really do enjoy doing this, and I really do appreciate that you all have been here with me. And everybody's talking still to Jacqueline to do this. I've got to go. It's 9:15 now. I've been up since 4 this morning. I'm starting to get tired. I will see you all next week, or hopefully see you all next week. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.